Welcome back everybody. So guys, here in this class I'm just going to teach you some more interesting things about the CSS. Actually, I'm just creating a div, okay, and giving it an ID div1, and in the same way creating another div2, and I'm just styling both of them here. I'm adding their IDs there, div1 value, background color orange, width 200 px, height 200 px, okay, margin 50 px. Awesome. Copy this one for the div2 and make it the div2, but change the background color, which is necessary, red. Okay, now save and go to the browser and refresh. These are the two elements you can see. I'm not talking about the forms right now. Just okay, the HTML, and refresh. Okay, now these are the two forms as you can see. So what more I'm just gonna do, I'm just going to the notepad back. I'm applying the value. Basically I just want this block there. You know that it's impossible, it's almost impossible, because every block level element, as the div has the line break after and before, but I just want to get this element there in the front of this element, the orange element. So I'm just going to the notepad and I'm adding the float. Basically I'm just making the both element to be floated, okay, not in the block level or in a same level. They are now floating. Float, where you want to float this element, the div1, I just want to float this element as float left, okay, and for the div2 float right. Awesome. Save and refresh. Now both elements are there in front of each other, but the first one is floating on the left side and the second one is floating on the right side. Basically they both are floating. This is what called the float. I can float them on a left way only or the right way. So refresh. The first one is there and the second one is there. It's still following it one, okay, but the both are floating in a same raw. Now there has no raws. Simple. Now if I just put the right there, right, and this one to be right too, now both will be go right. Now it's on the very right as it was on a very left. So this is a floating rule, the basic floating rule I just want to teach you. Another interesting rule you must learn, if I just go down and I just make main div, okay, and I'm just putting the background with this main div. So what the background I'm giving them, I'm giving the background as Silva, okay, and the padding as the 50 px. Save and go down and create the div 3. Awesome. Background color as red. Oh no, sorry, not the red now, just blue is okay, and the width I'm giving as 50 px, or the 100 px is too much, and then the height as 100 px again, and simply copying this one and duplicating, and this should be the div 4. Now what I need to do, duplicate, and this is the main div. Now I just didn't create these one here, so exactly I won't see these on the result, but refresh. Now you can see that this is the main element, the the main div. So right now I am just removing these one, okay, and for now I'm removing the floating too, and you will see interesting thing. Refresh. Now you can see that first I just call this one, then this one, then this one. So exactly you can see this is the first element, this is the second element, and this is the third element. But when I just apply the floating with the div1 and div2, so the position will change. Refresh. Now you can see that they are on the right place, but this, because this is not floating, these are floating, so it's not getting them in a sequence. They are getting them in a sequence because they both are floating, but this is not floating, so it's on the top because they just left the basic surface of the screen. They are on the top. Just you can imagine that they are on the top, okay, and they has nothing at their top, so that's why they are here. But right now I just want to teach you another interesting rule. I'm removing the float, right? I'll just clear you that how to survive in this situation. I'll just guide you, but right now I'm just simply cutting both the div1 and div2 and pasting inside the main div, and now refresh. Now exactly you can see that it's very big. Why? However, you can see that it has no space. Okay, so right now I'm just changing their margins. Now what the thing is that basically you know that it has no space, no height and width, but this is a rule. The basic rule of the CSS or the HTML is that if you put any element inside an element, and the element which is the child element has some space, or the padding margin or the height and width, so it will affect on the main element too, and main element became bigger just like a balloon. So that's why it has no space or no anything but just the simple padding. So the 50 pixels padding from there and there and there, but exactly it has no height and width. But now if I just put the float left and the float left and save and refresh. Now however, in a coding they are inside this main div, but exactly they just left the surface of this element, so this element is not getting them. Just like the previous situation, that however you put them out of the div or inside the div, this div are not getting their height and width. So how to sort out this position or this problem? Just see which is where are the elements. You just put it the floating, these two elements. So now which is the last element? Just after the last element, create the new div and call the style, and here just call the clear property. The clear property, what the clear property can do, it actually can cut the broken contact. By the way, actually what it does, the clear property, you know that they just lost the main surface of the main div, the surface of the main div, and they are floating now, so main div is not covering them basically. But if I use the clear property just after the elements who has the float, so actually it will make a connection again. So clear property, clear both, should put the value of clear both and refresh. Now however they are floating, but because we just put it the clear both property after the last floated element, so they are now back on the code looking cool. So in the next class we will learn a lot of things. Stay tuned and goodbye.